This is Mrs. Naghma Irfan going to deliver a lecture on module number 28 entitled as Supervision and Monitoring of Value-Based Environmental Education Classes. Value-based environmental education is a process that promotes awareness and understanding among students. It is aimed to develop responsible actions necessary for preservation, conservation, and improvement of the environment and its components. It is both process and product. Process as using environmental education as teaching learning environment and as approach to education, while product as developing understanding towards components and constituents of environment. Supervision here means the act of watching a person's activity and making certain that everything is done correctly and safely. The main motive for supervision is to organize and accomplish tasks in correct format or in right pattern. Supervision of environmental education classes refers to supervising classes in such a way that they incorporate the correct values towards environment. Monitoring here refers to step-by-step watching a person or his activities, ensuring the perfectness in the same. Supervision is a broader term, while monitoring is a narrow concept and it comes under supervision. It is more useful in ensuring the quality of task or activity. Awareness and sensitivity towards the environment implies to make the people aware about the issues related to environmental education. This is mainly focused to enhance the concern of people about their environment and to develop a feeling of affection in them towards environment. Sensitivity refers to bring about the changes in their interpersonal skills towards environmental education. The knowledge and understanding of the concept is to inform about the concerned topic, while understanding refers to explanation in their own words. This is focused on the development of the right information among the individuals so that they can develop understanding about environmental education, which helps in enhancing their concern towards environmental education. Attitude of concern and motivation to improve is the most important thing, and because this develops to the correct understanding and sensitivity among the students, a positive attitude will be developed towards the environmental education. The positive attitude among the individuals motivate them to take a step towards improvement. Now, that requires the skill. The main objective of the environmental education is to develop appropriate skills towards the environmental education. Skills relate to conservation of the environment, skills concerning to sustainable use of resources, skills that can inculcate positive feelings towards the environment. Participation means involvement of individual in an activity or task. It provides a hand-on experience related to work. The main objective of environmental education is to indulge the individuals in such activities which can enhance their participation in sustainable development of the environment and its resources. Why there is the need of value-based education? Nelson Mandela said, "Education," I quote, "education is the most powerful weapon through which you can change the world," unquote. It opens the horizons of mind. Aim of education is not only to impact knowledge alone, but to inculcate strong values in young minds. Value education has the capacity to inform the diseased mind into a very young, innocent, healthy, natural, fresh and attentive mind. Values are important because empathy, tolerance make people more responsible citizens. It helps us in deciding what is right or wrong, along with people more conscious of their acts. Value-based environmental education brings nature into the classroom. That is the most important thing. Take students outside to learn or find teachable moments on the nature walk with our families. Environmental education has many benefits for all vis-a-vis youth, educators, schools and communities to understand the nature and develop righteous values towards environmental education. Now, there are three main categories which are value based categories for the environmental education. Now, number one is the most important, human values, second is ethical values and the third is the personal values. Now, what is human values? Human values are the core values for human. These values are basic inherent values in humans which bring out the fundamental goodness among humans. In relation to value based education, environmental education refers to foremost responsibility of the humans to take care of environmental resources and to use them in a sustainable manner. These values help to develop relationship between human and the environment. Now, the second is the ethical values. Environmental education should be designed to realize the students that the earth is the motherland. Instead of human supremacy over earth, these values will help them to distinguish right and wrong actions, which will help them to understand the importance of the environmental education among individuals. Now, the personal values. The personal values refers to the general expression of one's likes and dislikes. They reflect our desires and need for something. In value based environmental education, this refers to values that connect the individual with the nature and develop the feeling of care and love among them, which in turn lead them to understand their responsibilities and duty to conserve nature. Now, what is the role of a teacher in education? Teacher has a central role in education. Teacher designs and plans activities to be performed in class. They instruct and supervise all activities in the class. Teacher is regarded as the third parent for the students. After parents, teacher at school look after student as their own child. They take care of all their needs and requirements. They motivate them to do their work. Students spend much of their time with their teachers in school. Teachers play a key role in developing the values among them. They make the students understand what is correct and what is wrong. They motivate them to adopt good values in themselves. Now, the role of teacher in value based environmental education is that education is mainly concerned with the inculcation of right values among the individuals to develop right concern towards environment. The environmental education classes, they hold a key role in supervision and monitoring of these classes with the objective to develop right values in a student towards environment. Values in environmental education develops environmental awareness among students to make them aware about importance of environmental education, to make them realize their duties towards environment, to make them aware about limited natural resources, to develop love and care for nature and their resources, to enable them to think in convergent and divergent ways to conserve the environment, to make them aware about present issues related to environment, to make them conscious about the degradation of environmental factors, and then next is to make them work for the preservation of environmental education, to develop a scientific temperament, to enable them to think in logical way. Now, next is development of environmental awareness among students. Value based environmental education will help the individuals to enhance their information about the environment, its related values and the knowledge about their substantial use and conservation. Next is to make them aware about the importance of environmental education. Now, the value-based environmental education will help the individuals to understand the importance of environment in our life. This also helps the individuals to develop moral values towards environment. And to make them realize their duties towards environment, value-based environmental education will inculcate values in individuals which will let them understand their duties and responsibilities towards environment and its conservation. To make them aware about limited natural resources. Then the natural resources are the key resources for the survival of life on earth, but these resources are limited. With the help of environmental education, individual can understand limited nature of these resources and help them to take measures to use them in sustainable manner. Next is to develop love and care for nature and its resources. Value-based environmental education will inculcate such values among individuals which will bring positive inclination towards nature and its resources. This enables the individual to have feeling of love and care towards environmental concern and issues. And the next is to enable them to think convergent and divergent ways of to conserve the environment. Value-based environmental education will enable the individuals to look for various measures for the conservation of environmental education. This will also help the individual to look for new methods and technologies for the conservation of environment, Mother Earth and its resources. And the next is to make them aware about present issues related to environment. Value-based environmental education make the people aware about environment and helps the individual to develop the feeling of concern among them. This makes the people to take interest in conserving nature, which in turn makes them aware about the issues related to environment, to make them conscious about the degradation of environmental factors. Value-based environmental education will help the individual in finding out the reason associated with environmental degradation, to make them work for the preservation of environmental education. Value-based environmental education will help the individual to look for measures and plans for proper execution of environmental issues. And the next is to develop a scientific temperament in individual. Scientific temperament will help the individual to organize things in systematic manner. Value-based environmental education will help the individual to plan and organize conservation of nature and its resources in a systematic manner, to enable them to think logically. Logical thinking enables the individual to think in a reasonable manner. Logical thinking enables the individual to analyze and think in a critical manner also. Value-based environmental education will also help to analyze the environmental issues and help them to identify reasons associated with the environment. Now, the next is supervision of environmental education classes. It is an activity-based program, that is activity planning, organizing competitions, project assignments and research reports, etc. Now, number 1 is organizing various activities. In organizing the classes for environmental education, such activities should be planned which can enhance knowledge related to environmental education, develop the feeling of love and care towards nature and its resources, and also motivate them to make efforts for conservation of environment. Then organizing competitions. In organizing classes for environmental education, such competitions must be organized that can make them aware about latest issues related to environment and environmental factors. Then the project assignments. In value-based environmental education, students should be given such assignments and projects that will develop the individual to think and look for factors affecting environment and to find out the possible ways for environmental conservation. Then the research reports. The environmental education classes students should be assigned some research work to look and find out any environment related issue of a locality. This will help the students to know the factors affecting environment at grassroots level. Organization of cultural programs. In environmental education classes, cultural programs should be organized that can build the effective relationship between individual and environment. Cultural programs will help in developing feeling of love and care. It also helps in understanding their duties and responsibilities towards environment. Now, I have come to the conclusion, and I conclude with these words: value based environmental education will not only help to develop feelings of love and care towards environment, but also helps in understanding their responsibilities and duties towards environment. As a part of teacher education, this course will help to train the teachers in inculcating righteous feelings towards environment. Thank you.